Assalamualaikum class, hope you are fine and safe. In today's lecture, we are going to explain we are going to explore more about the personality that after this session you will be able to describe the neo-Freudian psychoanalysis, define the Jung's collective unconscious and explains the Jungian's archetypes. If we remember what we have previously discussed in the previous lectures, we have started the topic of the personality. That what is personality, what are the different characteristics of personality, and what are the major theories of personality. We discussed that the personality has been defined in the various ways, and you can say that what is personality. Personality is the actually the characteristics or pattern of behavior, thoughts, emotions that determines the person's adjustment to the environment, or you can say it is a unique set of characteristics that someone possesses. When we talk about the unique set of characteristics, these are or you can say personality is what characterize an individual. Personality can be unique, or obviously it is unique. It is a unique psychological qualities of an individual that influence a variety of characteristics, behavior pattern across the different situations. And more about discussing the personality, we discuss about there are the two type of personality. First one is the private personality, and other one is the public personality. What is private personality? Private personality is what you actually your hidden emotion, your hidden part of the personality is actually your private personality. And the public personality is the personality that you express in the public. It includes mannerism, professionalism, behaviorism, etc. Then we talked about the you can say what are the factors that determine the personality. We discussed obviously from the very first chapter we were discussing the nature versus nurture debate. So when we talk about the personality, there are the two major influences, or there are the two major factors that make up your personality. One is the you can say nature, that is your heredity, that is your inheritance. And the second one is actually your nurture, that is your environment. Whenever we talk about the personality, remember it is actually the combination of your heredity and your nature. You can't isolate nature from the nurture. Then we talked about the different theories of the psychodynamic approaches. You can say different theories of the personality. First one was the psychodynamic approach, which includes the Sigmund Freud's theory. Remember the school of thought of psychoanalysis approach. Same is the case with the personality. According to the Freud's theory of personality, there are the certain unconscious desires, or you can say there are the certain unconscious motives and desires that actually control your personality, that determine your personality. All the acts of we are doing, all the behavior we are showing are actually determined by the certain motives. This is the idea that support the determinism. If you remember the debate of the free will and the determinism, this is the psychodynamic approach actually support the determinism. Actually, determinism is the idea that humans behavior does not occur randomly, but in accordance with the, you can say, there are this different psychological causes that actually cause your behavior. So according to the Freud, there are the three structures, or you can say there are the two instincts in your life. First one is the life instinct, that will lead toward you the you can say pleasure, or you can say towards your life. Then other one is the death instinct. That is if death instinct lead toward you to the negativity in your life. If life instinct actually drive you toward the you can say life instinct seeks to perpetuate life or progress toward the life, and death instinct seeks to terminate it. Whichever the death your instinct is, your personality will be more formulated as. For example, when the death instinct divert increases, your personality will be negative. When the life instinct will increase, or you can say will increase, your positive personality will be dominant. So when we talked about the death instinct, there are again two directions. First one is in self. First one is toward your own self, and first one the outward. When death instinct, you can say divert toward oneself, it means that you are going to your all the destructive efforts will lead towards you. That is you will be have more intentions to the suicide, you have be more intention to the harming yourself. But when these motives are directed outward towards the other person, you will be result in the hatred or murder, cruelty, etc. So, according to the Freud, they are the you can say according to the Freud, our aggression and our aggression is very prominent in our desires. Then he discussed about the then Sigmund Freud discussed about the structure of mind. According to him, there are the three major structure of mind. One is the conscious mind, other one is the subconscious mind, and the third one is unconscious mind. The conscious mind is actually represents your physical and the apparent part of the individual. This is what your prominent thing is. The next he discussed about the subconscious mind, that it is the second part of the brain which consists of the, you can say, the thoughts, ideas, beliefs which might temporarily be forgotten but which could be retrieved easily. And the last one is the unconscious mind. It is the invisible part of your mind, and you can say it is it contains all the according to Freud, it contains all the disturbing emotions and the significant ideas, memories that are very powerful, but you can't even you are not aware of these kind of motives. So this is what we call unconscious portion, and according to the Freud, this unconscious mind actually control you, and you can only you can say you can only sort out, or you can only explore this mind through your free associations or through the dreams. Then next we discussed about the different next we discussed about the structure of personality. According to the Freud, there are the three type of structure. There are the three type of you can say there are the three elements of personality. First one was the id, that obviously it contains all the passion and all the instinct. It is actually, you can say, the driving force of personality. This seeks and we talked about that the it that is id seeks the immediate gratification. It is your innate correct. These are your innate desires. It includes aggression and the your sexual desires. According to Freud, according to the Freud, according to the Freud, that these aggressions or these motives are actually seeks immediate gratification. For example, if you are hungry, let's take the example of the aggression. Aggression, if you are if you are angry or you have aggression, you will want to kill someone, or you want to just destroy each and everything. That is what, according to the Fruit, is your immediate gratification, that it seeks the immediate gratification. You want to satisfy these desires on immediate basis. Although these are the unconscious, but you it actually lead you, or it actually make your personality more you can say aggressive in a sense. Okay, and according to the Freud, it is actually your all the biological drives. For example, your hunger, your thirst. Whenever you feel hungry or thirst, it compels the organism to seek food and to relieve that particular tension. So, according to the Freud, it is an inborn, unconscious portion of your personality, where the two type of instinct you can say reside: the life instinct and the death instinct. Then then came toward the ego, that is the second part of the personality, which is evolved from the it. It can be translated as self. According to the Freud, ego is the center of consciousness. It is the way what goes to sleep at night, or it is actually the reality check. It is based on the player principle, that it seeks immediate gratification, it seeks immediate pleasure. But when we talk about the ego is based on the reality principle, that it is you can say it is the based on the consciousness, or it is based on the reality check. If it want you to have a certain you can say objectionable actions, the ego will come into the action. Ego will try to restrain you from these actions. So it is operates on the relative principle. The ego obeys the relative principles, which means that the gratification of the impulse must be delayed until the appropriate environmental conditions are found. Then comes toward the superego. That is the your you can say the superego is the most developed part of the personality, and it is the actually the representation of the values and the morality. That how the moralities, or how you can say your moral principles should lead yourself. When we talk about the super ego is actually based on the, or you can say is actually a work operates on the moral principles. It talks about the moral principle, that super ego has there should be conscious ideal, or there should be the ego ideal. So when we talk about this ego and super ego, it seeks pleasure. Number two, ego tests reality, and the super ego strives for the perfection. So these are the three important aspects of these three structure. It is very important for the MCQs, that when we talk about it, it seeks pleasure, ego test reality, and superego strives for the perfection. Why? Because whenever we talk about the superego, that is based on the certain reward and the punishment. It incorporate you can say it incorporates all the actions for which a child is punished or for which a child is rewarded. Clear? I hope it clear. So according to the Freud, when we talk about the personality shape, or when we're shaping up the personality or the personality development, according to him, actually our personality is the result of the interaction among these three elements: id, ego, and the superego. If superego pass, if the superego, you can say, dominates your personality, you will be strive for the perfectionist, or you will be someone very positive personality or very selfless personality. When it dominates or surpass the other two, you will be a very negative personality. You will only seek, we only talk about yourself. Or when we talk about the ego, your personality will be a very balanced. So according to the when we talk about the Freud, according to the Freud, the result, or you can say the tension between, you can say the tension between id, ego, and the superego actually cause the, you can say, actually cause anxiety or tension. So whenever one wants to minimize this tension, there will be a specific mechanism called eco defense mechanism, which is means that you actually neutralize, neutralize the effect of the id and the superego using your ego. I hope, okay, now this is clear. Now coming toward the today's lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to explore more about the psychodynamic approach. In psychodynamic approach, we will first discuss about the neo-Freudian, you can say, psychoanalyst. That is actually the built on the, you can say, the Freud laid the foundation for important work done by the series of successors who were trained in the traditional Freudian theory, but later rejected some of its major parts. So the theories are known as the neo-Freudian psychoanalysis. As the neo-Freudian placed greater emphasis on the than the Freud did on the functions of ego by suggesting that it has more control than the id does over the day-to-day activities. They focus more on the neo-Freudian psychoanalysis actually focused more on the social environment, and they try to minimize the importance of aggression as a driving force in the people's life. Remember, when we talked about the Freud, the major element of the Freud is that there are the two type of the unconscious desires. One is the sexual desires, and the other one is the aggression. But when we talk about the neo-Freudian psychoanalysis, they actually minimize the importance of sex and the aggression as an important driving force. So they paid greater attention to the society and the culture on the personality development. They focused more about the nurture as compared to the nature. Freud focused more about on the nature. Okay, when we talked about the effort, when we talk about the neo-Freudian psychoanalyst, there is the one important person that we can't ignore. That is the Carl Jung. Carl Jung is one of the most influential neo-Freudian that he rejected the actually the view of the primary importance of the, you can say, unconscious sexual urges. Instead, he looked at the primitive urges of the unconscious, you can say, unconscious more positively. He argued that according to him, that these unconscious desires present a more general and the positive life forces that goes back to the existence of life. He actually gave the idea of the collective unconsciousness. According to him, we all humankind have a universal collective consciousness. I am repeating, that is the collective unconsciousness, an inherited set of ideas, feelings, images, or the symbols that are shared with all the human because of some common ancestral part. There is a difference between, what is the difference between Jung? That is a very important question. The important, what is the difference between Jung's analytical theory and the Freud's analytical theory? According to the Freud, we have our own subconsciousness, our subconscious mind and the unconscious mind. But according to the Jung, that is very interesting part, actually the most interesting part of the Jung's theory, that according to the Jung's, we all have shared same collective unconscious, that is the universal unconsciousness. What is actually meant by the universal, or you can say the collective unconsciousness, that is the that we all share the same memories. Being a humankind, we all have the same collective unconsciousness. Why? Because of the structure of mind and because of our evolution. He actually supports the evolution theory. I'm repeating, according to the hymn, we share same collective unconsciousness. Why? Because of our structure of brain and because of our common evaluation. According to him, we all inherited the possibility of revising those experiences of our ancestors. They are actually make up our mind. We are not, according to the Jungs, we are not blank state when we born. When we born, we have the different experiences are embedded in our personality. That experiences are based on the, or you can say uh, these experiences are actually the part of our ancestors experiences, but it is actually the, you can say, inherited in our genes. So according to him, the collective consciousness is the inherited or the racial foundation of the whole structure of personality. What a person learns as a result of experiences is actually the influenced by the collective unconsciousness. Collective unconsciousness which exercise a selective influence by collective, or you can say, over the behavior of a person from the very beginning of the life. I am repeating. Freud based his theory on the unconscious mind that is unique to each and every person. But according to the Jungs, the collective unconsciousness is something that we shared. We all human beings shared. Why? Because of the, you can say, because of our ancestors' experiences. That we have ancestor experiences, we have our ancestral experiences, and these ancestral experiences are based, or are, you can say, are embedded in our genes, and it results from generation to the generation through the genetic molecular structure. So the collective consciousness, so according to him, the collective consciousness is made up of the collection of knowledge and, you can say, the ideas that every person is born with and is shared by the all human being due to the instantial experiences. I hope now it is clear. Now coming toward the Carl Jung's structure of personality, according to the structure of Carl Jung, our total or personality consists of the number of the separate but interactive systems, and these interactive systems are actually based on the, or you can say, these are the structure that make up our personality. Okay, I'm there is a very major differences between the Jung's theory and the Freud theory. Obviously, both are based on, both are the part of the or contributor of the psychodynamic personality, but there are the major differences. I'm again repeating, what is the major difference according to the Jung? The storehouse or the repressed memories specific to the individuals are based on the collective unconsciousness. But when we talk about the Freud, the storehouse, or you can say the unconsciousness, is actually the storehouse for the unacceptable repressed desires specific to the individual. But when we talk about the you can say Jung, it is specific to the all human mind. So when we talk about the nature and the purpose of the libido, or when we talk about the nature of the, you can say, nature of the life or the nature of the system, Jungs have different perspective. So these are the structure of the personality that is proposed by the, you can say, that is proposed by the Jung. The one of the major of, you can say, the disagreement between the Freud and the significant is the theory of libido. Okay, what is actually libido is, according to the Freud, libido is the energy that will lead toward you, toward that is lead you. Might be it is a life instinct, or might be it is the death instinct. Libido is actually the journal life energy. But according to the Freud, it is the always the negative. According to the Freud, it is always negative. That is the six and the aggression. But according to the Jung theory, or you can say, according to the Jung, he believed that the libido was not just the sexual energy, but instead generalized psychic energy. So it is more positive energy as compared to the Freud's theory. Freud focused on the Freud defines a libido as a very negative energy, but when we talk about the Jungs, he described it as a very positive energy. So what is libido? Libido is actually the part of the psychic energy that will lead you toward more positivity in your life. So it play a very positive and the constructive role in developing someone's personality. I'm repeating that what is libido? That is very tricky. Libido is actually the general life energy that for him, or you can say for Jung, the purpose of this energy was to motivate the individual in a number of important ways, including spiritually, or intellectually, or creatively. So it is actually the motivational source for seeking pleasure and the reducing conflict. But according to the Freud, according placed a very negative impact, or you can say Freud placed a very negativity in that particular part of the libido. But Jung regarded it as a journal life energy. Now coming to the next part, that is the ego. According to the Jungs, the ego is the mechanism by which we interact with the physical environment. The ego is the conscious mind. It is made up of the unconscious conscious perception, memories, thoughts, and feeling. So when we talk about the difference between ego of the Freud and the segment, these are usually the same part. What is ego? Ego is a mechanism through which we interact with the physical environment. If you remember the first definition, that is the same. That you interact with the environment. You This is the reality check. Same is the case with the Freud. Same is the case with the Jung's. That it is the reality check between the id and the superego. Now, the personal unconsciousness. Okay, it is the area where, or you can say, where your ego reside. Okay, Jung's described the two levels of the unconscious mind. Beneath our unconscious awareness is actually our personal unconscious, which contain memories, impulses, or you can say ideas or motivations and experiences that is very you can say personal to our life, that have been suppressed or forgotten. Some of its material can easily be retrieved and some of it is not. So when we talk about this personal unconscious, then that is the same as the Sigmund Freud's unconsciousness. That is particularly same to the Sigmund's unconsciousness. Okay, then we talked about the collective unconsciousness. We have already discussed about the collective unconsciousness. What is collective consciousness? It is, you can say, the most controversial and the important part of the concept. That according to the you can say, according to the Jung's, it is the part of our storehouse of your latent memory traces, which are inherited from the men's ancestral part, include prehistoric as well as animalistic murder. Okay, now what is the latent memory? Do you have any idea of the latent memory? Latent memory, if you talk about the you can say, if we discussed about the latent learning, what was the latent learning? Latent learning was actually you can say, this is a sort of the learning that we do not exhibit until unless we are provided with a certain sort of reward. So when we talk about the latent memory, these are the you can say these are the latent memory are actually the memories that persist, that actually there in your you can say that is there in your mind, but but it is some type of, you can say, forgotten, or but you can't retrieve them more easily. Clear? So when we talk about the uncollective collective consciousness, when we talk, I'm repeating beta. When we talk about the collective consciousness or collective unconsciousness, it is the part, or you can say, it is the made up of the certain type of the knowledges or the certain type of imaginations that we shared being in humankind. That is the thought process, that is the psycho processes that are the part of the our genes. So when we talked about them, it is the complete storehouse of information that is passed over generation to the generation. So when we are born, we are not a blank slate. We have the experiences of our ancestors. Now, this is the most important, you can say, the theory of Carl Jung. One of the most important theory of the Carl Jung, that is the Carl Jung's archetypes. According to him, these archetypes are based on the collective consciousness. According to him, the archetypes are the universal. Listen to me. Archetypes are the universal, inborn models of the people, behavior, or the personality state play a very important role in influencing human behavior. So, when we talk about the archetype, these are the structural component of the collective unconsciousness. These are the archetypes, you can say these are the methodological image, these are the behavior patterns that are embedded in our mind. These are inherited based. Archetypes are inherited tendencies. These are the innate part, these are the nature part. So it exists in each and every person, but the dominancy, or but the you can say dominancy depends upon the personality to the personality. So when we talk about these archetypes, I am repeating, what are the archetypes? These are the inborn or built-in models. These are the built-in models in these are the built-in models that are based in the, or that are embedded in the collective unconsciousness. So, for the obviously, when we talk about the archetype, or when we talk about the collective unconsciousness, for Jung, mind is never a blank slate at birth, but they are the experiences of our generations. They are the experiences of our ancestors that were passed from generation to the generation, and these archetypes are the same as compared. These archetypes are the same that is transferred from one generation to the next generation, and that is very important thing. Jung actually referred these archetypes as the god of the unconsciousness. These are presumed to be numerous archetypes in the collective consciousness. These are the major four archetypes that exist in the consciousness. Okay, beta, I am repeating what we have discussed about. What we have discussed till now. We talked about the Jung theory, that according to the Jung we have the collective unconsciousness. When we talk about the Jung, this is actually the original supporter of the segment front, but there are the difference between the different theories, which there's a difference of different theories between Jung's and the Freud dynamic. While the Frings agreed with the Freud that the unconscious play an important role in the personality and behavior, but he actually expanded the idea of personal unconsciousness, to which we called Jung's called the collective unconsciousness. So Jung believed that human psyche is actually the composed of three major components. First one is ego, then other one is the personal unconsciousness, and the third word is the collective unconscious. But according to the Freud, our mind is made up of the three elements. First one is the conscious mind, subconscious or the preconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. So there is a difference of elements of the human psyche. When we talk about the ego is actually the conscious mind, or you can say this is the what fruit say conscious mind, while the personal unconsciousness contain the memories that include those that have been separate. So when we talk about the archetype, these are the major inborn, or you can say these are the major inborn personalities of a person. So now coming toward these four types, or you can say these are the four archetypes of the personality. First one is persona. The person, or you can say the persona, is how we present ourselves to the world. The here the word, if you talk about the persona and the personality, the persona is actually the word from the mask. So when we talk about the persona, this is how we present ourselves to the world. Here, the persona represent all the different social masks that we wear among the various group and the situation. And according to the public-private personality, the persona is what your personality, your public personality. So, when we talk about the persona, it is the role assigned to us by the society. It is the part that society expect us to play a life. So when we talk about the persona, it is similar to the you can say the concept of role playing, that in which we act as we think other people expect us to act in a different situation. We are actually playing a role, and this role is actually written by the society. So we are actually acting as a way the people expect us from, or you can say people expect from us. So the persona is your public personality, and the purpose of this praise is to make your impression upon others and often conceal the real nature of our person. The second major type of the archetype is shadow. That is the dark self or our life. It is consist of the life instinct, or this is the actually the animalistic side of our personality. This is what we call private personality. The shadow actually exists as a part of our unconscious mind and is composed of our repressed ideas, weaknesses, desire, instincts, and the shortcomings. So, whenever we try to, whenever we try to attempt, or when we try to adapt to the culture norms and expectations, the shadow, you can say the shadow hides. So it can, when we talk about this archetype, it contains all the things that are unacceptable not only to the society but also to the one's personal morale. You can say one personal morals and the values. So it includes all the you can say your sexual desires or your aggression, your greed, your prejudice, your hate, your envy. So whenever we talked about the shadow, that is your public personality, and we can't express our shadow in the society. Why? Because it might be unacceptable to the society. Clear? And the animus, that is very important. You can say the aspect or the aspect of the personality, that is the anima or animus. Anima is actually the feminine image of feminine image in the male, and the animus is the male image in the female. So you can say that is the a woman in every male and a male in every woman. When we talk about a woman in the male, that is the anima, and we talked about a male in the woman in called animus. So when according to the Jungs, every person, every male has a woman in himself. Every woman has a male in herself. So that is the anima and the animus. These archetypes actually, you can say, again, these archetypes will also act as a collective images, which motivate each gender to respond, or you can say, or to understand the member of the opposite gender. So when we talk about these are archetypes are actually, you can say, represent or you can say these are actually the primary source of self. Okay. If we talk about the anima or animus, that is, they represent the true self rather than the image we present to ourselves, others. Okay. If we talk about the anima and the animus, that is different from the persona. Persona is what we in a public we represent. But when we talk about anima and the animus, it represents the true self rather than the image we present to the others, or serve as the primary source of communication within the collective unconsciousness. So if you I guess when you see a tomboy girl, or when we talk about the tomboy girl type personality, it means that the anima or the animus is more prevailing in that person, woman. And if we whenever we have interaction with the male that have the more feministic actions or the feministic behavior, it's mean that the anima is actually prevailing in his personality. So when we talk about anima and the animus, that is the true self, that is the part of the, you can say, the male aspect, the masculine aspect in woman is the animus, and the feminine aspect in the man is the anima. So whatever the personality is, whatever the shape of your personality, it depends upon the dominancy of anima and the animus. If you see, or in a life, if you ever see person or the male that is more have the more feministic tendencies, it's mean that the anima play a very important role in shaping up their personality. Same is the case with the female. Whenever you see a girl which is a tomboyish type, or who are, or you can say, more male oriented and have more male tendencies, for example the ambition, or you can say the different sort of activity that is a male dominant activity, it's mean that the animus is more dominant in her personality. Now coming toward the one more aspect, that is the self. Now this is the archetype that represent the unified conscious unconsciousness and the consciousness of an individual. It is represented the self as a circle, square, or mandala. This is where the combination, this is the what you are. That is the complete combination of your unconscious desires or your conscious desires. It actually, you can say the self is actually try to synthesize all components of your personality. It represents the your need for unity and the wholeness of your total personality. So here your goal is to first discover what is your personality, what are the different aspects of personality, and now you are going to make up a model, or you are going to make them a harmonium unity. So you, this is what we call unity self actualization, and that is what we call the full development of our personality. Sorry. Or you can say the self is actually the midpoint of the personality around which all other systems are unified. So it holds the system together and provide the personality with unity, equilibrium, and the stability. That is what is a goal. Your the self, or if we talk about the self is the goal that we everyone is going to pursue, and everyone is striving to pursue. You obviously we all wants that we have a very balanced personality. So the self is actually the balanced personality in which the persona, shadow, collective archetypes, ego, super ego, id, and the anima and animus have the similar portion and have the very unified portion. And the interaction of persona, shadow, the anima and animus is actually a very you can say in a very balanced manner. They interact with a very balanced manner. So whenever we talked about the self, okay, when we talk about the self, they are the two different centers of personality. The ego obviously make up the center of the consciousness, but it is the self that lie at the center of personality. Or when we talk about the personal personality, personality is actually the combination of your unconscious or your ego and the unconscious mind. So if we think about a circle, okay, imagine, let's imagine, uh, 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 think about a circle. Imagine us think a circle, and there is a dot in the center. That particular dot, little bit dot. Now the entire circle, this entire circle make up the self, whereas the small dot in it represent the ego. So ego is actually the center of your consciousness. This is, here the one portion will be of persona, here the one portion will be of anima, here the one portion will be of the, here there, this is what we call persona, this is what we call shadow, there is one anima, and there will be animus. So that particular dot, it represents your ego, and that the combination of whole circle and the complete circle is actually your self. The next is the attitude. So according to the Jung, there are the two major type of attitude that exist in one person, or you can say which the people take in relating to the world. One is the introverted and extroverted. These are the words or terminologies you heard about many times. So when we talk about the when we talk about the attitude, the according to him, there are the universal type of human personality. So he divided that personality into the two major type. One is the introvert, and the other one is the extrovert. Introverts are the people who prefer, you can say, their own world of thoughts, dreams, ideas, fantasies, and they need private space, interaction. So whenever you talk about the introvert, they are the very less confident people, imaginative people, or the quiet people. They are the very shy. They are the less talkative. They want to live in their own ideas. They want to live in their own life, or they want to live in their own social environment. They don't like interacting with people. Actually, according to him, the interaction with people, the interaction with strangers, actually, you can say, actually drain their energies. They drain energy. So, according to them, the interaction with the people is actually the wastage of energy and the time. So they want to live alone, and according to them, they being alone actually energize them. So when we talk about the introvert personality, these are the very quiet, shy, confident, and imaginative personalities. But when we talk about the extroverted personality, these are the very opposite to the introvert personality. They prefer world, they prefer friends, they are very social, talkative, they are very outgoing personalities. So they even don't live alone. They want company, they want friends, they want social relationships to survive in the environment. So they are the very social being who actually got energized from going to the parties, interacting with the people, or they are the very self-confident and obviously interactive. So when we talk about a very healthy or the mature personality, both are necessary. Sometimes we are very introvert, sometimes we are very extrovert. Whenever we are in a public meeting or whenever we are interacting with some persons, as maybe we are extrovert, but when we are alone we are more introvert. So according to the Carl Jung, these universal type of attitude actually play a very important role in determining the personality. So afterward, these attitudes are actually divided into the 16 major type personality types. Of course, each individual is a unique. So when we talk about the pattern of personality organizations, these 16 personality types are readily observable. So here I am actually going to conclude today's lecture. Okay, then I'm actually going to conclude our today's lecture. That in today's lecture we talked about the one more psychodynamic personality theory, that is the Carl Jung's collective unconsciousness. Again, I'm repeating that Freud actually emphasizes before this lecture we discussed about the Freud theory. According to the Freud, we have you can say our personality is made up of the three major elements. One is it, super ego, and it. But according to the Freud, there are the certain unconscious, or you can say collective unconsciousness, that actually make up our personality. These are the or you can say these are the storehouse that transfer from one generation to the other generation. That whenever we are when we born, we are not a blank slate, but there are the certain there are the experiences of our ancestors embedded in our genes or embedded in our mind. So the major, or you can say the practical implication of collective unconsciousness is that, okay, whenever you heard about the generation and we discussed about that, there is a generation gap, or you heard the word that collective intelligence. So whenever the new generations are coming, they are more intelligent than their ancestors. Why? Because they have the experiences of their ancestors. Now if we talk about the millennials, or we talk about the generation Z, how we say that these generations are very tech savvy. Why they are tech savvy? Because their parents are tech savvy. And if we talk about in 1960s or 19 or we talk about the baby boomers, or we talk about the generation Y and generation Z, these are sorry, generation Y and X, these are the not tech savvy, because their their ancestors were not that much tech savvy. So the collective unconsciousness mean that we have the experiences of our ancestors, and these ancestors experiences are passed from generation to the generation, and they will pass till the end of the humankind. So so if we talk about the or when we discussed about the what is the difference between, that is a major important question, what is the difference between the Freud's theory and the Sigmund's theory. The first one is obviously collective unconsciousness, that we have already discussed, and the other one is the theory of libido. That when we talk about the Jung's say that libido is actually a very positive energy, but according to the Freud, libido is a very negative energy, and that is based on your aggression and based on your biological desires. But according to the Jung's, the libido is actually the more positive energy that will lead toward your life, or that will motivate you toward the life. So, according to the Freud, or you can say the Freud described the people as a victim of their childhood experiences. But Jung's believe that we are not only shaped up by the past experiences, but our goals, our hopes, and aspirations also play an important role in determining our personality. So, when we more about if we discuss more about the Freud, there is only an endless repetition of, you can say, instincts till the death, that there will be sometimes there will be life instinct, there will be death instinct. Your actions will be, sometimes your action is governed by the your actions are governed by the life instinct, or sometimes your actions are governed by the death instinct. But according to Jung's, your personality or the person's actually lives by the aim as well as I by the causes. So there are the interaction between the future and the past experiences. And then we discussed about the different archetypes. There are the four major archetypes that we have discussed. First one is a persona. That persona is your public personality. That is what you actually want to what you actually represent in front of the society. The next one is the shadow. Shadow is actually your private personality, your all hidden aspects of life that you don't want to share, or even these are not acceptable by the society. Then we talked about the anima and the animus. That is the this is very important, that every male has a woman in himself, and every female has a male, or you can say every male has a masculine part in him, in herself. So the personality, the composition of personality is actually is again, or you can say is actually or you can say the personality is actually the combination of these all the aspect: persona, shadow, your public, your conscious behavior and unconscious. So whenever we talk about the goal of life, that, or if we talk about the self of Jung's, that the goal of individual is life to reach self actualization, the possible when all the systems and all the functions are integrated. We will be perfect when all our systems, including our preconscious mind, our conscious desires, our conscious mind, our unconscious desires, our anima, self, each or every person are well balanced. So this is all about today's lecture. In inshallah, in the next lecture, we will talk about the theory, or we will talk about the trait theory, and we will discuss the certain more aspect of the personality. Now, there will be an interactive session tomorrow at 9:30. I will post a assignment. And after this lecture, you will have to complete an assignment. That the assignment question is actually what is the difference between Jung's personality theory and the Jung's personality, sorry, Freud personality theory and the Jung personality theory. Hope you understood what we have studied in today's lecture. Hope see you soon. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Thank you for listening. Allah Hafiz.